The Carpathian Mountains loomed, ancient and imposing. They were a fortress of stone and shadow. Jagged peaks tore at the sky. Forests clung to the slopes, dark and unexplored. Twisted trees whispered secrets to the wind. This was Transylvania, a land steeped in folklore and fear. At the heart of this forbidding landscape stood Dracula's castle, a Gothic monstrosity. Its stone walls were scarred by time. Towers stretched towards the heavens like claws. Windows were dark, vacant eyes. This was not a place of life, it was a sanctuary for the shadows, a place where evil dwelled. The air hung heavy with dread. The silence was broken only by the howl of wolves. Their cries echoed through the valleys, a chilling reminder of the wilderness's untamed nature. This was Dracula's domain, a land where darkness reigned. The castle was more than just a dwelling. It was an extension of Dracula himself, ancient, powerful, and steeped in a darkness that ran deeper than any forest. Within its walls, a nightmare awaited. Jonathan Harker, a young solicitor, arrived at the castle. He was oblivious to the danger that awaited him. He believed he was there on business, to finalize a real estate transaction with the Count. He was wrong. He was walking into a trap. From the moment he stepped inside, he felt uneasy. The castle was cold, the air thick with the smell of decay. Shadows danced at the edge of his vision.
Welcome, Mr. Harker. I trust your journey was pleasant.
The Count, with his piercing gaze and unsettling charm, both fascinated and repelled him. Days turned into weeks. Harker found himself a prisoner. His fear grew with each passing hour. He discovered the truth about his host, Dracula, a vampire, a creature of the night. He witnessed the Count's true nature, his supernatural abilities, his thirst for blood. The horrifying realization dawned on him. He was trapped in a nightmare, and there was no escape. Under the cover of darkness, Dracula boarded the Demeter, a Russian schooner bound for England. He took with him 50 boxes of Transylvanian earth, his native soil, essential for his survival. His journey had begun. The voyage was plagued by misfortune. A creeping sense of dread settled over the crew, whispers of a presence aboard, a presence unseen, yet felt in the chilling night air. One by one, the crew met gruesome ends, their bodies drained of blood. Fear turned to panic. The captain, a man of the sea, was powerless against the evil that stalked the ship. Dracula, hidden in his coffin by day, roamed the deck by night, feeding on the unsuspecting crew. He was a predator, and the Demeter was his hunting ground. The Demeter ran aground in Whitby, a small coastal town in England. It was a storm-tossed wreck. Its only cargo, a dead man lashed to the helm. Dracula had vanished. He was already ashore. His reign of terror was about to begin. The storm raged. Waves crashed against the cliffs. The wind howled through the narrow streets of Whitby. It was as if the town itself was bracing for the darkness that had arrived. The locals, accustomed to the sea's fury, felt a different kind of unease. A coldness settled over the town, an unspoken fear. They had no idea what had come ashore with the storm, but they could feel it, lurking in the shadows, watching, waiting. Dracula wasted no time. He was drawn to the vibrancy of life, the scent of blood in the air. Whitby, unknowingly, had welcomed a monster into its midst. Lucy Westenra, a young woman of beauty and grace, became Dracula's first victim. He was drawn to her vitality, her life force. She was the embodiment of everything he was not, and he craved her. Her health deteriorated rapidly. A strange illness gripped her. She grew pale and weak, her once vibrant spirit fading.
I suffer from strange dreams, visions of a dark figure, and two red eyes that burn into my soul.
Unbeknownst to her friends and fiancé, she was being drained of her life essence. Night after night, Dracula visited her, feeding on her blood, transforming her, turning her into one of his kind. Her transformation was horrifying. From a beautiful young woman to a creature of the night, her eyes, once filled with life, now burned with an unholy light. She was a shell of her former self, a puppet in Dracula's grasp. Dr. John Seward, Lucy's devoted admirer, was baffled by her condition. He tried everything to save her, but her illness defied all medical knowledge. Her symptoms were too strange, too horrific. He kept detailed notes in his diary, documenting her decline, her strange symptoms, the puncture wounds on her neck. He knew something was terribly wrong, but he couldn't explain it.
I called upon my mentor, Professor Van Helsing, for help. Van Helsing, a man of science and esoteric knowledge, recognized the signs. He knew the truth. Lucy was the victim of a vampire.
Seward was skeptical at first, but he couldn't deny the evidence. The garlic that repelled Lucy, the crucifix that caused her pain. He was forced to confront a terrifying reality. The supernatural was real, and it was threatening the life of the woman he loved. Professor Abraham Van Helsing was a man of contradictions, a scientist who believed in the supernatural, a doctor who fought monsters. He was a scholar, a philosopher, and a fearless vampire hunter. He had dedicated his life to studying the undead, learning their weaknesses, their strengths. He knew their lore, their rituals. He was humanity's best hope against the darkness.
I arrived in Whitby with a grim determination. I knew time was running out. I had to act fast to save Lucy's soul and stop Dracula from claiming more victims. I gathered a small group of allies: Lucy's fiancé, Arthur Holmwood, her friend, Mina Murray, and Dr. Seward. Together we would confront the darkness and fight for our lives.
Section 8. The net closes in, pursuing evil to its lair.
Van Helsing wasted no time. He knew what they were dealing with. He directed Lucy's loved ones. They placed garlic around her, a crucifix on her chest. But it was too late. Lucy succumbed to the curse. She died, and rose again, as a vampire.
Driven by grief and a thirst for vengeance, the group vowed to destroy Dracula. They followed his trail, from his lair in Carfax Abbey to the desolate landscapes of Transylvania. Their pursuit was relentless. They faced countless dangers. Dracula's bride, seductive and deadly, tried to lure them into traps. Wolves stalked their every move. The closer they got to Dracula, the more perilous their journey became.
They were guided by Mina. She shared a psychic link with Dracula. Her visions gave them glimpses into his plans, his movements. She was their greatest weapon and their greatest vulnerability.
Section 9. Confrontation at the Crossroads, a desperate battle for souls. The final confrontation took place in the heart of Transylvania. The hunters had cornered their prey. Dracula, weakened by his return to his native soil, was still a formidable foe. His powers were waning, but his rage was boundless. A fierce battle ensued. Sunlight and shadow clashed, stakes and crucifixes against fangs and supernatural might. The hunters fought with courage and desperation, their humanity against Dracula's monstrous power.
Mina, caught in the crossfire, used her connection to distract Dracula, to weaken him. She was the key to his defeat. But her life was hanging by a thread, her strength fading fast.
Van Helsing saw his chance. He lunged forward, plunging his stake into Dracula's heart. A deathly shriek echoed through the Carpathian night. The Count was no more.
Section 10. Dracula's demise. Dawn breaks over Transylvania. Dracula crumbled into dust. His reign of terror was over. The world breathed a collective sigh of relief. The shadows that had gripped the land lifted. The sun, finally breaking through the dark clouds, bathed the Carpathian mountains in a warm light.
Mina, weak but alive, collapsed into Jonathan's arms. They had survived. They had faced the darkness and emerged victorious. But the scars of their encounter would remain with them forever.
The hunters, weary but triumphant, watched as the last vestiges of Dracula's evil dissipated. They had saved humanity from a terrible fate, but at a great cost. They had lost friends. They had stared into the abyss, and the abyss had stared back. They left Transylvania, forever changed by their experience. They carried with them the weight of their victory and the knowledge that evil, like shadows, could always return. Section 11. Legacy of the Count. A shadow cast over time. Dracula's demise did not erase his legend. His story became a cautionary tale, a reminder that darkness can lurk in the most unexpected places, that even in the face of reason and science, the supernatural can hold sway. The Count's shadow continues to loom over popular culture. His story has been told and retold countless times, in books, films, and plays. He has become an icon of horror, a symbol of the seductive power of darkness. Dracula's story serves as a warning, a reminder that evil can take many forms, and that even in the face of overwhelming darkness, there is always hope, as long as there are those willing to fight for the light. The legend of Dracula continues to fascinate and terrify. It is a story that will never truly die, a testament to the enduring power of darkness.